The last thing that I want to bring up has to do with the Charlie Kirk assassination and death. And this is extremely important. Um, that case was wrapped up in an extremely timely fashion. And don't quote me on this, but I believe that the director of the FBI, they wrapped up that investigation in less than 36 hours, which was like that's sort of amazing. And there are individuals that were close to Charlie that didn't buy it. They saw some anomalies. And so as they began to go down that sort of rabbit hole and saying, well, this doesn't make sense, so I want to look a little bit more, and they would find some more things and find some more things and find for more things. And this isn't just sort of some random person out there who, a keyboard warrior that sits in their mother's sort of basement in their underwear with nothing to do that's trying to do this. This is an individual that has a very good reputation in respect to uncovering the truth. And this is an individual who was a very close friend of Charlie Kirk, worked side by side him, helped build that organization up. And if those of you aren't sort of following who I'm talking about, the individual that I'm referring to, his name is Candace Owens. Candace Owens did not buy what happened. And because of her relationship with Charlie Kirk, she felt it upon herself to not stop looking until all of the questions, because there were things that happened that were questionable, were sort of answered. And as she began to dig deeper, more sort of facts came to light. Now, it's very important to say, well, if what this individual is saying doesn't jive with what the government is saying, then we should just sort of trust the government because the government doesn't make up things. The government doesn't sort of mislead us. And I want to be very careful on how I articulate this. I think we only have to look back to the assassination of JFK. We have to look back to the pandemic and see that, hey, you know what? Maybe what we were told does not necessarily mean that it's true. So what I'm saying is here, there is an onus on us not to take Candace's word for it, not to take what the government is saying, or not to take what other mainstream media. There is an onus on us to make our own decisions. And in order to make our own decisions, we have to listen to what is being said. Okay. I can remember that, when the pandemic hit, if you even remotely suggested something that was going against what mainstream government was saying, your YouTube videos were taken down, your Facebooks, your tweets, all of these things. There was such sort of censorship. Now, why am I bringing this up today? Of what relevance is what Candace Owen is saying of relevance in our sort of weekly session today? Well, here is the relevance. Something has happened in some of the things that Candace has uncovered, and people in play, powerful people in play, very wealthy people in play, have sent out their feelers, their funds, their messages to various groups of influential people. Some are in the media, some are in government, some are in finance, and wait for it, some are in the institutional church. And I'm not going to mention the denomination of one particular church, but it is an extremely large denomination, very prevalent in California, that has essentially reached out, and all of the people that are associated with that denomination and other denominations where there's sort of that mutual respect. It's very strange that they're coming out on their platforms and they are essentially saying that Candace has delusions, that she's upset and that you need to don't listen to what she's saying because it's rubbish. Don't listen to what she's saying. Just, that sort of cancel culture. Because, why? Why is because some of the things that she's uncovering have a direct relationship to that denomination of church. And what is the relationship? Well, the relationship is involved in Turning Point USA leadership. The relationship is financial. And we're not talking about small churches. We're talking about churches whose annual revenue is between anywhere from 50 to $100 million a year. And when these things are sort of brought forward and people start to dive deep into this particular denomination, there have been multiple things uncovered that have to do with improprieties of the church in instances where senior pastors have put people in a position of ministry within the church that were convicted for terrible crimes against children and things of that nature. Now, I'm not mentioning any names. I'm not mentioning any denominations. What I'm saying is this: there are two messages out there. One is saying, I have evidence, I have facts. Please listen to me. If what I say makes absolutely no sense, don't ever listen to me again. Another side is saying, no, 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 no. Don't listen to what she's saying. It's wrong. And if you even go and listen, oh my goodness, then you're a sinful creature because you're not listening to your spiritual leader. Well, I am telling you, listen to both sides. God gave you a brain. The Holy Spirit has given you a set of glasses to say, hey, this is good, this is true, or whoa, that's wrong. It's very, very, very important because there has been a tie. And even though the United States government says that government shall make no laws or regulations pertaining to religion, since the beginning of time, since the beginning of pre-Jesus, government and religion has been so intertwined. And one of the things that you will see is when something different has been said, when something that they don't understand has been said, there is a knee jerk reaction. Why? Because it threatens their autonomy, it threatens their power, it may threaten their stream of revenue. And one only has to look at the beginning of how the Pharisees began the path to have Jesus killed. To look at that, you look at the allegations that were sort of made. It's very, very, very important. Last thing I'm going to tell, and this is if you're watching us for the first time, you're going, wow, well, you know what? I don't usually hear our church or our sort of service talking about podcasters. Of what relevance is that? It is extremely important of relevance because this particular thing affects a mainstream denomination of the institutional church.